Jeremiah 28:6 says that even Jeremiah hoped that the prophecy that he was predicting, the prophecy of destruction, was false. How is life, everyone? Welcome to my channel. It is Brian Eubank here, and today I want to talk about how even the good people suffered when they're going to exile, but they maintained that hope that God was going to be present in their and with their people later on. If you read through the prophets, most of them talk about destruction happening immediately, but they also have sections in their books where they talk about how there is a hope for the future, how Jerusalem will be restored. So they're going to exile now, but in generations to come, they will be restored. It's always that future promise. Now, in that time when they were going into exile, things looked pretty bleak. Even Jeremiah, the good person who's talking to God, went into exile. The good people went into exile with the people who had been unfaithful. But the difference between the people, the prophets, the people and the prophets were that the prophets maintained that message of destruction, even though they hoped that it wouldn't be true, and they also knew that God was still there, and that God would bring them out of that affliction and suffering. But the people didn't always see that, because they saw the suffering of themselves at that moment in time. So even the faithful people wondered why they were being punished like they were, or if they thought it was a method of punishment, because it may not have been. But they were going into exile, and they were facing this suffering and this mistreatment by the Babylonians, and they had little hope. But the prophets told us that there is still hope, and that in the end the righteous will be rewarded and the wicked will be punished. So no matter what happens to our physical bodies, and in the present time, we can always maintain the hope that eventually God will restore God's kingdom and God's relationship with God's people. And Jesus said the message and the mission today is to spread God's kingdom, spread the knowledge of God to all the world. Now we're working on that, but it's a very slow process, and there is suffering during that. At times God may seem distant, but we need to maintain the hope that God is still with us, and God will see everything through to the end. We may not live to see that day, but that day will happen, and we can live our lives in that hope. We can only make the smallest difference on this earth, but we can make that small difference. So let us trust that God will see things through to the end. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have an awesome day, and God bless you.